Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering myself at Swami's divine lotus feet, invoking Bhagawan's divine presence and blessings amongst all of us. Firstly, I invite the following dignitaries to kindly come forward and light the ceremonial lamp. In the order, Honorable Chancellor Sir, Sri K. Chakravarti Garu, Managing Trustee, Sri Sathya Central Trust, Sri Ratnakar Garu, Vice Chancellor, Professor Raghavendra Prasad Garu, Registrar, Professor B. Saigida Sir, and Sri M. Pradeep Sir. We shall now commence the proceedings with invocatory Vedam chanting.
सरस्वत्यै नमः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ ॐ हर 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 ॐ नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमस्ताम्राय च अरुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नमः उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वधाय च दूरे वधाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमस्तेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्ताराय नमः शम्भवे च मयो भवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तीर्थ्याय च कोल्याय च नमः पार्याय च वार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आचार्याय च लाद्याय च नमः षष्ट्याय च फेन्याय च नमः सिकत्याय च प्रवाह्याय च ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Respected Chancellor, Sri K. Chakravarti Garu, Managing Trustee, Sri R.J. Ratnakar Garu, Vice Chancellor, Professor Raghavendra Prasad Garu, Registrar, Control of Examinations, Professor Sudhir Bhaskar Sir, Dean, Head of the Department, alumni brothers from batch 1993, senior professors, students, A very loving Sairam and good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to the 38th MBA Day celebrations. The MBA program was inaugurated by our beloved Swami in the year 1986 on this very day, that's 21st of August. We will start today's proceedings with welcome address by Dr. Sai Manohar, Head of the Department. Dr. Sai Manohar is an alumnus of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. He graduated with MCom in the year 1993. After a successful career in both academia and industry, Sir joined Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning as a faculty member in the year 2012. I now invite Dr. Sai Manohar to deliver the welcome address.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan. Respected elders, dignitaries, alumni brothers, faculty members and staff, and my dear students. During the year 1986, our founder Chancellor, Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, graciously commenced this MBA program, and it has been growing from strength to strength during 37 years. With the passage of each year, and we have scaled greater heights with his immense blessings. After blessing the MBA program, which he always used to refer as Yam, Master of Man Management, Bhagawan Baba revealed the Mahavakya of leadership to Lieutenant General Chibbar, which is to be, to do, to see and to tell. If we talk about today, our MBA graduates have widely spread throughout the globe in search for growth, learning, knowledge, and their performances make difference everywhere. Thanks to our beloved Bhagawan, who keeps blessing us always and all the ways. By saying this, I feel deeply honored standing here today, as well as very nostalgic at getting the privilege of welcoming you all. It's my honor to welcome our revered Chancellor, Sri K. Chakravarti IAS Garu. You have brought a great deal to this university, and many have benefited from your insights, your wisdom, your dynamism, and your commitment, and for that we are very grateful, sir. We welcome you, sir. I cordially and respectfully welcome our guest of honor, Revered Sri Ratnakar Garu, Managing Trustee, Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust. It is really an honor to have you today as chief guest, sir. Your presence here at this event will not only inspire us, but also urge us all to do better in life for the welfare of mankind, just as you have been doing. I welcome you, sir. I cherish the pleasure of inviting respected Vice Chancellor, Professor B. Raghavendra Prasad, to this event. Welcome you, sir. I also take pride in welcoming our Registrar, Professor B. Sai Giridhar. Hearty welcome, sir. I deem it honor to welcome our Controller of Examination, Sri Sanjay Sahani, sir. Welcome, sir. I quote, I think the success of any university will be measured by the contribution of the alumni who make the differences. So in this context, I am especially honored to welcome our alumni brothers who are here to share their knowledge and expertise. Welcome home, brothers. It's my pleasure to welcome Professor Sudhir Bhaskar, Director, Sri Sathya Sai Center for Human Values. Welcome, sir. I also take pleasure in welcoming our Director, Dr. Raghunath Sharma. Welcome, sir. it is my pleasure to extend cheerful welcome to our senior faculty members who has given a great support for this event. Welcome, sirs. I also welcome our other faculty members and staff members for this event. Last but not least, I welcome our future leaders who are ready to grab every opportunity world is going to offer and excel in their life. Welcome, my dear students. At the end of this event, you all will have ideas, innovations, and inspirations. I end my address with a quote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, sir. We are indeed fortunate to be addressed next by the chief guest today, Sri R.J. Ratnakar Garu, Managing Trustee, Sri Sathya Central Trust, and member, Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning Public Charitable Trust. Sri Ratnakar Garu is the illustrious son of Swami's younger brother, Sri R.V. Janaki Ramai Garu, who, as a member of Sri Sathya Central Trust, did yeoman service to humanity by actively taking part in the service projects initiated by Bhagawan. Right from his birth, Ratnakar sir grew up under the loving care and divine guidance of beloved Swami. We may say that Swami molded him at a young age and prepared him to take up the higher responsibilities in his divine mission. He graduated from our own Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning with an MBA in the year 1991. He was the recipient of all-rounder gold medal from the divine hands in the year 1990. As instructed by Swami, he spent about a decade in corporate world in understanding the various aspects and working of an institution. In the year 2003, he relocated to Puttaparthi as directed by Swami and actively associated himself with various spiritual and service activities of Prasanthi Nilayam. As the first assignment, Bhagawan appointed him as the chairman of Srimati Ishwarama High School, Puttaparthi. Later, in March 2010, Swami blessed him to be the trustee of Sri Sathya Central Trust. Currently, he also serves as a trustee of Sri Sathya Sadhana Trust and Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning Public Charitable Trust. From January 2020, Sri R.J. Ratnakar Garu has been designated as the managing trustee of Sri Sathya Central Trust. Sri R.J. Ratnakar Garu has been very closely associated with the Sri Sathya Seva Organization, India, and its multi-dimensional service activities in Prasanthi Nilayam and across India. I'm sure we will all immensely benefit from Sir's words of wisdom and experience. I now request Sir to address all of us.
I offer my most humble and prayerful salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Master, Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Chancellor Sir, Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Controller, the faculty, and all the young students, very loving Sai Ram to each one of you. It's always a pleasure to come to this beautiful, hallowed institution. And whenever we come here, all the wonderful memories always hits us. Somehow whenever we come in some capacity and they call us, sort of distance us by calling us chief guests and special guests, it doesn't feel so good because we grew up in these very portals. We played here, we studied here, we grew up here. So we are truly privileged to be associated with the beautiful institution which truly molded us and given everything that what we have today. When Vice Chancellor told me I must be here for MBA day, I said a lot of our own MBA brothers who have extremely doing very well in their careers, extremely doing good in their jobs wherever they are, we must invite them on a regular basis and give their expertise, give their knowledge, give their wisdom, give their experience to the young children who are here, so that will be very useful to them. Raghavendra said, I myself is not an MBA student, so you must be here. So it's always a pleasure to come back and be amidst you and share whatever little learnings that life has offered us. Being at Swami's lotus feet, it's vividly remember 1986 when the MBA department started. It's like as though it is yesterday it was started, and it's so much enthusiasm and sort of one childlike enthusiasm Swami was nurturing this MBA department. Used to be very, very proud of MBA boys when the first batches, when they came in 1986 to 88, the first batch. A lot of us has to have a grouse because every time it was MBA boys who were given a lot of attention, everything was only MBA, MBA, MBA. In fact, whenever Swami traveled, he always also had them accompanied in his travel also. So it is sort of, MBA was a very privileged group, and some of us who have been here for a long time, so some of them used to talk. These guys came yesterday and they are having so much, but we have been here for a long time, but we could not get that kind of a proximity which these guys are getting it. That's the kind of love and affection that Swami showered on this particular department right from the beginning. I remember most often, whenever he is present in the very first 2 years, almost on every Thursday or Sunday, he would come here and speak to MBA boys, and there is a lecture for them. Those days, our Chancellor sir was a registrar then, and we've seen a lot of changes that have happened over a period of time. And the way Swami molded each individual here, the kind of time he spent, the kind of attention that he gave to each one, really sometimes when we look back, why did he do so much for each individual? What was that he had in mind that he was spending so much time with each individual self? Especially the people who have gone through the educational portals of this hallowed institution. Each one of them would have experienced some kind of hand-holding, some kind of guidance, some kind of hope-giving by him. And students were very, very special for him because he saw future of this country in them, future of this institution. A typical MBA student anywhere outside would be very want to do well for himself and land a good job outside to any corporate world. And somehow he never allowed campus placements here. He said, no, let my children, the students, get first ready for anything, not specifically for a specific job, but they should be a wholesome personality that I want them to be. So somehow he felt that we don't need to work for somebody to be picked up by them, and rather than that we should focus on a all-round personality that any student should have. In fact, that's how we did not have for a little while, for some time, these campus placements. I think even now, slowly, of course, the times are changing. We require certain requirements of UGC, requirements of so many other NAC. So we started what is called Catalyst. Our own children used to go from here, where some kind of via media arrangement was made, sort of campus placement outside campus. Now I think it's time I request the university administration, Vice Chancellor, should think of campus placement in campus also. Because it's a progression. I feel when if Swami was to be here and we go and represent to him, definitely he would say, okay, if that is the kind of norms which are required to be fulfilled, why don't you do it? Because today the new education policy has come. The kind of education that is undergoing changes. If you run an institution, you will understand how difficult it is. Especially when you have to run institutions without any commercial considerations. It's quite tough for any institutions to run educational institutions or medical institutions. If you are on this side of table, you will understand the kind of compliances which have come in, whether you are giving free healthcare, free education, the kind of demands that are required to be met is huge. And all the time we are at the mercy of Bhagawan, because this institution is only his child, and for everything and anything, we cannot charge anybody. We have a free education system. So when we sit through these budgets, and when I have this little nervous time during March, April, we find it quite amazing that the way Swami has created these institutions, and the way he envisioned, and even now after 12 years of Swami's Mahasamadhi, after Mahasamadhi, it runs so smoothly without any hiccups. Even now, the same kind of fervor, same kind of activity level. In fact, activity level has increased from 2011 to 2023. The kind of patient care, if you take hospitals, the kind of courses which we have introduced into university has gone up. I remember when 2011, when we started, first time when we were looking at the budgets, the entire university budget was just 6 crores. 2011. Today, 2023, I think we have touched 35 crores. In the last 10 years, from 6 crores to almost 6 times it is multiplied, the expenditure. So, but Swami somehow provides all the time. There are very large-hearted people whom Swami himself has inspired and come here and be part of us, be very, very supportive to this institution. Today, even at that level, we are happy to support every activity of the university, because you have an advantage of a student being handling the other side, and a registrar who has become a chancellor who has a passion for this university, and whenever I have an opportunity as a student, more than a managing trustee or a trustee, whenever I sit with sir and talk to him about university, I don't ever remember coming out of this room when he is not get emotional about this university. He's always so passionate about this university and always tells that I want to see this university at the top of the line, and it should be one of the best universities in the country and in the world perhaps. So that's kind of a deep connect and affection that we have in our Chancellor, and and being a student, I will be more than happy, and being studied and come out of this portal. Whenever we have anything that comes from university, we always are willing and go out of the way to support this beautiful university, because that's our duty. So in all this, why I am telling this is there's a lot of young students who are MBA first year, second year, many of them would have not even seen Swami, or many of them would have come to Puttaparthi after perhaps getting admission into MBA. There is a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat and blood has been spent on building these institutions. It's not that it just comes like that and it's created overnight. These institutions have organically grown over a period of time with a lot of hard work and a lot of man-hours which have been put into this for many, many people who have really toiled for this institution to be at this stage. So you all should remember that, and finally when you land up here, you should get the best and without any cost. That is what Swami wanted it, and I am sure that is what we are doing it, and we'll continue to do it, and we'll continue to support. But sometime we need to just pause a while and have a recap of what is happening. I'm sure Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Controller and all the deans, it's very important that we need to, especially this batch of these students who are in this vertical of MBAs, management, they immediately after that they are into the industry, in wherever they are, into the world at large. So it's very important that we stay relevant, we stay updated, we stay very, very, catch up with what is happening around, and what will enable these students when they go out of these portals. What will enable them to be easily go through the other side grind. So I think it's this is a request from my side to the administration that we need to rethink and do whatever is necessary so that our MBA boys and the people who graduate from here get into very good positions. Because I do not know if you take a data of in last 5 to 10 years or 5 years, how many of them are really well placed, and what are the kind of little bit analysis we do on what kind of jobs they are landing, what is that they require to improve that situation, if at all, are they really doing well? If they are doing well, what kind of jobs they are coming, what kind of companies they are absorbing? Because while all said and done, with the permission of Chancellor, I can say that while we say this institution is for values, institution for development of student and integrated development, definitely, while we are doing that, we also need to make them relevant to the industry, relevant to the outside world. So it's very important that both in hand should go. While we have the integrated education, value-based education, at the same time, their value also, the value as MBA graduates also should be having that balance. It's like both wings of a bird. Unless you have both wings, you cannot fly. Only one side, if you have all the other things, you have discipline, devotion, you all that you have inculcated in this, but you are not competent, you are inefficient, then it won't fly. So you should also have correct knowledge, correct efficiency, correct all that. Then only both wings will only make them fly into this corporate world or wherever they are going out. So for this we need to have any kind of requirement from our side. We will be more than happy to be part of it and to support it. A kind of a long-term vision which we need to develop. When I was just recently, Sir Kelkarji gave me a book about China, something I was just flipping. It's somewhere it caught my attention. The Great Wall of China was built over 350 years. Great Wall of China, which everybody goes and sees, was built over 350 years. Nearly 15 generations of administrators have changed. Somebody could have told that, third generation, fourth guy would have said, why should we build a wall, and the Great Wall of China wouldn't have existed. Consistently for 350 years, 15 generations have seen the purpose for that Great Wall of China. They wanted to protect China, they put up the wall. That means somebody who is in the first generation is able to convey the same fervor, same purpose to the next generation. For 15 generations they have done. That's why the Great Wall of China has become reality. So any institution to last for any country, any institution, the continuity is very important, that core values to be handed over down. It's like a relay race. When you hand over a baton, the other guy also should be able to run along with the same fervor, because he has a same goal of completing that race. So we have to take everybody on board, and whenever we are handing it over to the next generation, or I won't say next generation, next incumbents, whoever is coming, we need to convey this very clearly, that what is required of this institution, what is that we require. Even that's what I keep telling even in the organization, because many people who have seen Swami, who have been with Bhagawan, who have experience with him, that breed is getting diminished. The number of people who have interacted with Swami, had experiences, had direct direction from him, the kind of people that people are coming less and less over a period of time. I see in institutions and even organization, a good 50% of office bearers haven't seen Swami, or they have come to Prasanthi Nilayam after Mahasamadhi. And just recently, I think last 2 years back batch, I was talking to them, right from the first class till MBA, MTech. Now I don't think anybody has, that generation is not there, who have seen Swami and who grew up. Now the current students who have seen Swami are very less. I don't think now it is all over, I think. It looks like, or maybe in a year or two it will be over. The number of students, maybe if somebody studied in first standard in 2011, now he may be somewhere. But what is his memory of Swami in first standard, I got along. So almost virtually the entire student community are people who haven't seen Swami at all. So the people who are working here, who had the opportunity to interact with him, like alumni who have come from 93 batch, or any of them who had this great golden opportunity, we should be able to interact and convey certain core things if we have retained some of them. If we have retained, that is also is required. If we have something in us, we should pass it on to them. Otherwise, it will be lost. Like how today Vedas are still alive, because it was given from person to person. That's why it is called Shrutis, because it was given. We need to also give this knowledge, give this beautiful teachings of Swami, and what is expected out of students from batch to batch. It's very important. The way they built a Great Wall of China over 350 years, everybody felt that. And why today is still so powerful there? Because they have a distinction of unbroken chain of administration over 1,000 years. Unbroken chain of administration for 1,000 years. Here, unfortunately, what's happening in the current ecosystem, everywhere it's happening. If somebody does something and we have to undo that to prove that we have arrived. We are undoing things, then again we are starting from again zero. Many a time that that's more prominent, and you can see in the kind of governments which we have around. We do this. So we need to, especially young people who are going into the world, it is not that simple and that cozy outside. Today the kind of challenges are very, very different. Very different, and you are expected to sort of measure up to everything that the world, the corporate world or the world outside is going to throw at you. It's not that you cannot have any template of working this way only, because situation is always dynamic. In fact, when we work in charitable institutions, and especially like Swami Sathya Sai institutions, it's completely different from what people expect. I did my MBA here, I don't remember anything of it, because nothing is applied in what I do it in day to day. I am sure many of you will agree with me. Nothing of what we learnt in the classroom is applicable. It's completely different story it will be. When you come out into the world, you are not dealing with a templated situation, a situation which case study which teachers did it in your college or in your classrooms. It may not happen that way. And it's most likely it will not happen also. Maybe you have some lessons here and there which you can draw some kind of wisdom from them, but the situations are completely different in this current scenario. Who ever expected a COVID to hit the world and the world will go shut itself down? Can't even imagine Prasanthi Nilayam was shut for 2 years for devotees. 2 years. Means it's unimaginable. Can anybody even ever think that, any institutions, everything was shut. So that is a very different kind of a situation. Nobody would have ever, the best of the professors would have not even envisaged it. So these things you will encounter, like that you will encounter so many. But some good happens, some good comes out. Today, unfortunately, some good with some bad is also happening. Today, we have no problem having any board meetings on online. No need to travel anywhere, no need to, a lot of communication. People are now accepted and got used to just getting onto your computers, getting onto your online and either Teams or Zoom or anything, you do a meeting as much as you're face to face. But it is getting impersonal. But commerce is like that. But in institutions where spiritual institutions, it cannot be like that. This is about people, this is about emotions, this is about sentiments, this is about people's the feel. So here again we have a different issues on hand. In fact, when we had COVID here, nearly 3,000 people were on the campus who were stranded, and suddenly lockdown was announced. So you are in a situation where you have 3,000 people in the campus from different parts of the country and many countries. Nearly 600 of them were there from different countries, and balance were from different states of this country. And all of them were stranded here. It was a lockdown because people were dreading that, anybody having COVID will eventually die. That is what the initial feeling was. COVID is killer. So we had 3,000 of them in the campus, and we had closed everything. Nothing was moving. What difficult situation it would have been. So you will face something like that. I remember many a time whenever we were, those few, the 3 months, it was such a harrowing experience. Because people have come for a 1 week, 2 days, 5 days, 1 week visit to Puttaparthi, Prasanthi Nilayam, they have got locked down. They don't have clothes to wear, they don't have any toiletries, nothing. They have just come here, they wanted to go back, but they could not go back. It was our duty to provide them everything on a weekly basis, including their hair oil, toothbrush. We used to do that regularly, and it is not just giving them little bit of, maybe we could give a sari, we could give a dhoti or some, all that we could do, but nothing getting replenished anywhere, and all our stores were running out, there were no supplies. At the same time, it is not just maintaining them, giving food. They had a lot of issues. Some of them have left their parents, who are aged parents, have come here for seva, just thinking they will go back in a 1 week's time. Now, how will you face a situation like that? We had a lady volunteer who had a 4-year child and 1.5-year child, left with her parents and come for service for 1 week, and she got stuck up here. Imagine, the children are there, only small children, kids 1.5 year and 4 years, and the mother is here, thinking she will go back in 1 week's time and the children can be with the grandparents. Now they are stuck up for 60 and odd days. It's such a difficult situation for anybody to handle. We used to make a mobile video call to the children, and children will, every day this is to go on. The mother cries and children cries from there, but they are in Trivandrum or some Pollachi, some interior south. So now that is, imagine into 3,000. That much is the difficulty. There are, I used to, sometimes these people from, they would like to move out, but they felt some of people from Europe, they said this COVID is fixed by some country corporates and all that. Some of them have very weird thinking, so they would come, Mr. Ratnakar, let us out. There's nothing here. So I say, no, please. This is government orders. We can't go out anywhere. And they would climb up to administrative office sometimes. And my worry was there are now also very big pythons are there. If one of them catch hold of it, then catch hold of them, if it swallows also, we wouldn't know. It's a huge ones, 15 feet pythons are there in that administrative building. Don't simply take anything and everything and go to administration. I'm just telling you for your own, so that they won't come up with all small complaints to you. So that is to be kind of, and 3-4 times, sir, I was jolted because there used to be a slip on my on the table. Mr. Ratnakar, we are having a suicide tendency. Some of them are locked up and so they feel they have that suicidal tendencies. So now after 3-4 cheats you read, you will start getting a suicidal tendency. So this is how we used to handle those things, but we have to keep somebody, we have to counsel them, we have to comfort them. And at the same time there was a lurking fear in us that we can't let them alone, so we used to always keep some few people with them. So it was a very different kind of a challenge and experience. So you will have any number of challenges which you will face in the real world, your bosses. When I was working, don't need to say anything about the names, but I was working, one of my executive vice president, I was in Calcutta, I was coming to Bangalore. Executive vice president is from Calcutta, but he was in Bangalore. He told me, just pick up a liquor bottle and bring it, and my house will deliver it to you. Now he was my executive vice president, is a very powerful man in the division. He's a decision maker. But somehow, as an individual, not as an employee or who was working there, as an individual, I had my own self-respect or self-image. I said, why should I take? I don't take, I never touch anything like that, and why should I carry anybody's liquor with me? So I refused it. I said, sorry sir, I won't be able to do this for you. He said, hey, nothing man, this is a small bottle, you can put in your box and bring it. I said, sorry sir, I don't take myself any of these things and I will not be in a position to carry. He was very upset, and when I came back, some of my colleagues said he's very upset. Some at the very opportune time, he will definitely see you out of this place. So I used to keep my resignation letter in my pocket and move about, saying if anything comes up, I will not allow that conversation to prolong. I'll just give it, throw it, literally throw it and come out. So this is your own conviction again, but will that always holds you? That's why you need to read Swami's literature, and you need to be resilient. For sometimes you may go through, you may be, for some reason you may even get eased out. We don't know. We don't know. Bosses can be very cranky. Bosses is always right, bosses is powerful. So now some of our own brothers are bosses, I don't know, they must be knowing it. So we don't know what, but our convictions we should hold on. We should. And these challenges keep coming everywhere. And before I end, I was just reading Swami's Chinnakathas recently. It was with pictorial depiction. Somebody had made a book, but when I opened, it's a beautiful anecdote which Swami says about that. There is a village in which there is a blind person, and there is in that same village there is a lame person he can't move, he has no legs. So both of them are neighbors, so they talk to each other if they have to move to one place to place. The blind man cannot see, the lame man cannot walk, so they say, we'll have a kind of a collaboration. The blind man will carry the lame man on his shoulders. The layman who can see, he will guide how to go about it. So they move from place to place. That is what they had, a collaboration. And they were having a small kind of feat in next village, so there was some festival kind of thing. Both were going. The blind man was carrying this lame man was guiding him. Somewhere on the way, they see this cucumber, where we eat salads, they make cucumber. So those plants that a lot of them were there. So seeing that, the lame man who is sitting on the blind man's shoulder says, hey, stop a while. The blind man says, what happened? He says, there are a lot of cucumbers, let us pick it up and we can have sumptuous, and we go with it. Then the blind man says, just wait, answer my questions. He says, okay, tell me what is that? He says, is there a fence around it? The lame guy who can see, he says, no, I see there's no fence, it's open. Then he says, is there any watchman around it? Is there any watchman guarding it? He says, no, no guarder. Then blind man says, hey, then that is useless. On the roadside, who will leave these cucumbers like this and go away? They must be bitter or they must not be useful to eat. That's why they have left it. So let us go. Don't unnecessarily eat and get food poisoning done. So Swami narrates this beautiful story. And when in fact, it put me into such a beautiful, thinking mode. The collaboration between a man who can see, but the man who has the ability to work, he is able to carry him, he is able to move about. In any of your institutions, this happens. There are people who can see, who can guide you, but they may not be able to perform. They may not be able to work by themselves. But there are people who work, but they won't be able to see. So this collaboration is very much required in any institution for its success. That is one part of it. The other part of it, when you think of it out of it, this is a blind person who is having the brain to think what is happening. While the man who sees, he is not able to perceive what's the reality there. Sometimes you can look, you are on the seat, but you are not able to perceive it. People who are not even in the seat, they are able to perceive and tell you, hey, there is no fencing, there is no watchman. That means that's not good for you to consume. That knowledge is somebody else, but who is not able to see it. You are able to see, but you are not able to perceive these things. So both ways, if you see these both lessons, what Swami, though it is Chinnakatha Swami made, but so profound, which I felt, when I just was coming, I remembered this beautiful story. What should I say? I was just praying. Swami prompted that the way Swami narrates every story in either it is Chinnakatha for children or anything, the kind of message is so profound. So we have this kind of situations in any institution. Any institution, the people who are able to see but they can't perceive the entire reality. But somebody who is not part of it also able to see, they can. So we need to take guidance from everybody. Never stop learning. That is what I have at least learned at the Lotus Feet, and I continue to learn. Never stop learning. That day when you stop learning, you will no more be vibrant, no more will be relevant. You should keep on learning. Today, unless you learn, today you are all MBA students here, and so much knowledge is getting updated. So many new technologies now. AI is something which is happening, and everywhere the machines are trying to replace human beings. Now chat GPTs have come, people write, depending on their dependency on the technology is increasing. So you need to update yourself, make yourself relevant. Definitely you have to be very, very alert in this outside environment. Unless you are constantly upgrading yourself, it is difficult for you to handle anything in the world. So I think you need to move on. You need to learn. There is a lateral learning, parallel learning, and you need to be learning from where you are, that specific learning. So many spheres of learning is there. You need to continue, you need to be aware, you need to be for anything and everything. Because you see the world at large, it is undergoing a change. Now the commercial world has become so competitive that for everything and anything you are driven. By any chance, sir, if you in a Google, if you just look for a product, then there will be 5 companies will be pushing their advertisements onto your phone. Just you say Bangalore to Hyderabad ticket you see on airlines, immediately the 4 airlines will be coming. How do they know about it? Because they know what you are doing. Today there is nothing like secrecy, nothing like privacy. As long as you have a mobile phone, you are completely exposed. Your life is exposed. Where you are going, what you are. Today, I understand even some financial institutions take their habits are being mapped, and they have been provided to financial institutions. Whether this guy goes to more often to temples or more often to go to bars, or whether he goes more often to 5-star hotels or more often he goes to Udupi restaurants. It will map. The moment you have a mobile, you are being mapped. Including such that I was standing with somebody in the hotel. They're saying, the Google says 5 minutes your car will be from valet parking, it will be coming onto portico. Means you don't have any privacy. You just walk out of, that prompts you, immediately prompts you saying that your car will be in next 5 minutes in the portico. It takes 5 minutes from valet to come to portico. So that much means you are no more a private person. As long as you have these gadgets, you are completely, your footprints are, you are leaving on every bit of it. Your conversations are no more private. Your life is no more private. Every time they can snoop in, they can talk. Just anytime you Google and see how it is. You just ask for some product, some 100 companies will start promoting them. So it is AI driven. So I think you all should need to be updating even technology, even whatever management, because management is coming with the technology now. Unless you also have that kind of some kind of course orientations, I think it will be nice. And I'm so glad I'm here. Just before I close, I must tell you one thing. Because our brothers also here, somebody from 93, brothers from 93 batch. See, what we have to learn is every investment may not create profit for you. It may not happen. a life, but certainly some of them will make you rich. So always remember that it is not, you will get enriched in life with certain things. Like that's why Swami invested so much of his time and energy and resources on all of us, because it enriches the existence. It's not profit. People would have walked away from here doing their own works, not that they continue to stay here and serve the institution. If you see very strictly, that is not to be considered to be loss, but the whole institution get enriched. So it is not that we always should look for that kind of a thing. We should enrich our lives day in and day out. Be positive, young children. In fact, when I was just coming up, I thought, what should I tell these young boys, brothers? Of course, to 93 batch, I can say my brothers, but that current MBA students, my sons also working at that, in studying in equal to their MBA. One is in law graduate, two is in final year, which is like MBA final year. So you're like our children, so you need to learn. You have a long way to go, and you are going to be in this very, very tumultuous world where you are having a lot of thing to do and lot of challenges, lot of positivity also is there. So if you are really good, the sky is the limit. You can grow. Our own MBA students have grown from here. Sir, I think this microfinance, Star Finance or something like that. Our own alumni, 3-4 of them are there. I think they have reached a valuation of $3 billion or something they were saying. He was there recently with us. A lot of them, I have met a couple of alumni who have come and their businesses are $1 billion and above. At least 3-4 of them I met. They just, privately they told me, sir, we have a turnover of $1 billion and above. So happy to hear and interact with them when they come here. And most happier thing is that even now they want to come here and then still be with us. That is the beauty. And this place will never ever weaken its attraction for anybody on this planet. It will always be attracting, and more so for us because we have drank the water of this beautiful place, and we have walked on these sands which are very, very charged all the time, and also somewhere a small obligation because this institution takes nothing, expects nothing out of us. So there is some small little obligation which we should have, and I am sure all like how we are 93 batch or all the batches, all the students, all should always come back and support this institution. This institution should be, why should a Harvard or a Cambridge or whatever MIT, we have all the resources. Why should we have the ability to become one of the top-notch institutions, and let us make it, and whatever it takes, we are willing from our bit, and I am sure all the alumni should also, as alumni body, I think now you have a body, we should concentrate on the support of the institution. Those I have been telling also in some of our, since our 93 batch is there, I keep telling even our organizations and even Global Council, any student who is willing to serve in any of the organizations, they should be given a chance to serve. But nobody should be parachuted into anything. Nobody that shall not give anybody any special status. But as a student, if somebody is doing well, somebody is interested in service, I tell them please encourage, because they have more connect. But no, just because he is from an Institute of Higher Learning, don't take him and surpass anybody and put him somewhere else. Because that kind of a system, you need to be, Swami trained me for 25 years, not one day. I would have sweeping, mopping, I would have done all the things. It's a lot of, that is not a topic now, but he would have trained people for some reason. So please, I tell all our brothers who are here and who are going to be in the future, be part of organization, be part of mostly the university, support university, have more interactions, more congregations here, more meets here, come here, support your alma mater, because we have to have that pride that we have studied here. Some of them, when I see in Bangalore, Bombay, some of them are doing so well, they come, I was seeing a Mindtree guy, Mindtree in Indian Institute of Sciences, they are putting up a a multi-specialty hospital with medical institute. One single alumni of that is doing that. So we must be able to support this institution so that it is going to be. We should. That is. My fond hope is that all of us together, all of us, we have been benefited. Let us see that this institution is top in the country, top one of the premium institutions which people look forward, because an institution like this are very, very few in this world, and especially they are nurtured by someone none other than Swami, and I think we owe it to this institution. Let us do together, and the administration should create that such an ecosystem which will flourish, and let us hope in our very short time we will be an institution which is sought after in this country. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Thank you, sir. In fact, I'm reminded of few words of one of the teachers who taught us in the MBA program, that each student who joined this institute has no entry load, but while they leave, they have a lot of exit load, because we carry the name of Bhagawan with us, and that itself is an exit load. And while to be a student of this institute is a privilege, it is a great honor and responsibility on each one of us that we perform our duties in the institute and outside the institute to the best of our ability and make Swami proud of us. Thank you, sir, for the informational and inspirational words which you have shared with all of us. We shall now break for a photo session for about 5 to 10 minutes. We shall assemble in the hall by 11:20 a.m. again. Thank you. Sai Ram. Welcome back again. We shall now have the inaugural address by Professor B. Saigeza sir, Registrar of Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning. Sir assumed charge as the Registrar of Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning on 1st June 2023 after serving as the Acting Vice Chancellor from December 2022 to May 2023. Sir was the Deputy Director of the Prasanthi Nilayam Campus, Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning from 2014 to 2015, and in the year 2015, he was appointed as Head Department of Management and Commerce for a period of 3 years. With this brief introduction, I request Sir to come over and address the gathering.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most loving pranams at the lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagawan. Revered Chancellor Sir, who has been an inspiration for all batches, we also know the amount of commitment that he had with reference to the progress of each student of this institute. Professor Raghavendra Prasad, the Vice Chancellor of our university, Sri Sanjay Sahani, Controller of our university, Professor Shiv Pandit, who has been my teacher, Professor Kumar Bhaskar, who has been my teacher, faculty members, dear alumni brothers, and students. Milan is very appropriate. Why I say it's appropriate, I'll come back to that a little later. But at first, I would state we all have fond memories of when Bhagawan started the MBA course in 1986. It was on 20th evening, all the MBA students were ushered in to sit in the veranda. So everyone was turning around and looking at them. And at that point of time, we were in our second year. Was looking at them and saying, some of them were a little elderly when compared to the others. Oh, even some uncles have joined, they said. This is in terms of because at that time we had the school children and also the institute students who were staying together. So that is where they said, some uncles also have joined because some of them had lost some hair and some of them looked a little. But the love with which Bhagawan interacted with them is something which was very touching. So that saga of love which started then continues even today. We find that intensity to be connected with Bhagawan because that is the source which gives us all the energy to do what we want to do. Why I say that is the source? Because Bhagawan said, if you talk of my property, students are my property. He did not say buildings are my property or the assets which he has got is its property or devotees are his property. He did not say all that. He said students are my property. So when emphasis is given to us in terms of we are really blessed to be a part of the university, go through the course, learn skills for life and living, because that has been the focus of every individual who has come through the portal. Sometimes what happens is we pick up efficiency a little later. Like for example, they say diesel engines need a little more time to be more efficient. Of course, the new technology defies that law. But petrol engines perform better in some stages. So this is where each student will have his own time period when he realizes what he has gone through. Sometimes Bhagawan used to say one thing to one person, but the message the second person was praying for is answered. It is one language that he speaks to one person, but the other person hears it totally in the language which he loves or which he knows. So these are instances that we have come by, and sometimes Bhagawan has come and spoken to a person and he has no clue of what and why Bhagawan has told this, but at the same time the person sitting to him has said, yes, my questions are answered, I know how to take care of it now. Why I said Milan is appropriate? Why? Because that was the MBA we have got used to. But today, MBA is very different from what it was then. I'm not talking from a student's point of view. Student's point of view, the learning continues. You go through your cases and all that happens. I'm talking of MBA as a course which has to be offered by a university. And that's where many of us can play a very significant role. For example, MBA, the AICT, because today, every year, we have to take an extension of approval for MBA. What becomes critical at that point of time is that they start looking at every activity which they have prescribed. For example, karma. Or you talk in terms of the other activities which you come by, like Margadarshi and so many other schemes which they have introduced, and said that an institute should implement these. In addition to this, we have UGC which is saying that minimum of 5 villages is that what you have got to adopt. So these are activities which are going on currently, and the institute's responsibility is to ensure that we take up these activities. When it comes to applying for extension of approval, I'm slightly moving it out onto the administrative side so that this is some place where we all can get connected. We need to have 5 MOUs with companies. And as of now, I know that we have MOUs with the institute, but with management department, I don't think we have even a single MOU which has been signed with a company. It becomes very critical. Why? Because we have got a campus in Prasanthi Nilayam, we have got a campus in Anandpur. At least 10 MOUs are required if you want to get into that. They talk of mentoring. They say that institute which is doing well should mentor another institute which is upcoming. Upcoming in terms, we will have to enroll the students and the staff in that, so that the institute takes a lead and tries to help the other people in trying to grow as an institution. So this is another aspect which has come into picture, wherein the institute has got to go out and ensure that we register, we mentor the other institutions, we ensure that the growth of the other institutions. And in fact, Vidyanjali is the head under which it is being done. The students also may have to enroll, and they will have to in turn be mentors for other institutions which are fledging or which are just coming up. So this is another aspect which we come by. Similarly, we have got, recently we got a letter from the AICT stating that you have to take up plantation of trees, empowerment of villages, think in terms of driving for scholarship for students. Not only that, they want the students to enlist themselves in the portal of AICT and undergo what is called as an assessment in the portal. That is, a student and teacher both will have to enroll. Assignments are given, assignments have to be evaluated, and only then, see, all these are tick mark boxes which we have to work with. So it becomes very relevant that if you want to continue as an institution, then in that case, where do you stand? What are the activities as an institution that you are taking based on which the student is going to be taken care of. One other aspect which I would like to state, even the managing trustee did mention about it, is when we applied for extension of approval, they said, please update your placement details. So if we don't update our placement details, they said we will not be able to issue an extension of approval. Of course, we know that Catalyst is doing a wonderful job right now in trying to help and reach out to people and place them so that it becomes easier. The entire focus of this current government is that you have to skill people. That is, karma is nothing but that. You have to skill people, but in addition to that, you ensure that once he joins your organization, you take care of every facility which is there. Whether it is like, for example, is your campus ready for a physically challenged person? Is it ready for a special person? So these are activities, aspects which come in when it comes to the institution standing for certain requirements, regulations which have to be taken care by the institution. These are from the angle of regulation, which I did mention. But there is a significant portion which I would like to focus on, or I would like to say, I am deviating from the concept of inaugural address a little bit, because I thought let us speak what is relevant, what is needed, and what we need to do. For any organization to survive, we need support from every part of the society. Initially, when we are all growing, parents take up the role of supporting us to grow, helping us to grow, teaching us, ensuring that we pick up the right skills, guiding, molding, and ensuring that we get into a career which is good for us. Time passes. What happens? The role reverses. After some time, it is this child who has got to start taking care of the parent. So we are all children of this university, which Bhagawan has so lovingly blessed us with that opportunity of studying here, going through every aspect of our life wherein he has made us or helped us to grow. Today, I feel it is our responsibility that we look for opportunities where we can strengthen the institute or the department, or we can think in terms of how can we empower our own students. I know we have got people from various walks of life who can make a difference in the life of many others. Can we come together and think in terms of having, like for example, someone, I think Rishi just suggested, why don't we have an advisory body which looks into the working of both the department and how do we outsource people to ensure that they can support us and take it forward. So maybe if we can think in terms of something like that, because we need to have internships which have become compulsory. According to Government of AP, it says 3-year degree course, 10 months of internship. So we are talking in terms of slowly we are moving into that. So we are saying that at least 2 months of internship for our MBA students, or 1.5 months depending on what is the need. It can be online, offline. These are things which are becoming mandatory. So we can't, right now they say you report the numbers. Tomorrow if we start reporting very low numbers, we are going to be in trouble for that, because of that, because they will say, why are you not empowering, because the government believes in skilling. It says that if you just stick to books, it is not going to help you. So this is where it becomes very relevant. We have to think in terms of how do we make our students ready for the market. Managing trustee said, when whatever we go through, we may not use it verbatim or in the way it is. But every activity which we are going to go through, that is where if we can think in terms of the skills which are needed, which we can, because 30 years experience, 40 years experience, which each of our alumni have gone through, which each one of us have gone through, if we can transfer it, even a portion of it, to our students, I think that will make a huge difference. Currently, recently, our students, Anandpur students, had gone to Chennai for an industrial visit. The response which we have received from the people who have participated in the different interactions, they said that they were so pleased, and they in fact congratulated the faculty and the students for the amount of interest and the vibrancy that they showed. So all this is happening. Why? Because why have everyone come back? It is because of one force, that is Bhagawan, who has played a huge role in our life. So my sincere request is that we should think in terms of ways and means by which we can empower our students. What is the bit which we can put in based on which our students' life is going to be better? So this is my request to all of you. I know that you'll have come in order to stay here, relive the moments, because these are one of the happiest moments which we would have gone through in our life. So can we make, because we were fortunate to have seen the physical form of love, can we pass on a little bit of that to our younger brothers who are still trying to climb up the steps, which will make them efficient, able, and value-based people. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.
Thank you, sir. I think if I can put the entire gist of what sir addressed, it goes to the theme with which we all live here. That is, where each one of us live for other and all live for God. So let's join our hands together for the inspirational words which sir addressed all of us. Now we shall have our respected Vice Chancellor, sir, addressing all of us. Our respected Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor B. Raghavendra Prasad Garu, assumed charge as the 12th Vice Chancellor of Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning on 1st June 2023. An alumnus of Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning, deemed to be University, Prasanthi Nilayam, sir joined the Department of Physics at the Indian Institute of Science in February 1986, where he worked on the Laser Applications Program, a defense project of national importance. Upon completion of the project, he joined the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, IIA, in the year 1998. He served as chairman, member of several scientific committees formed by different research and development institutions, universities, and research funding agencies. He held several administrative positions as chairman or member of selection and assessment committees at IIA and other academic institutions. Sir is an active participant in several of the socially relevant service activities of alumni of Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning over the last 35 years. He is very passionate about sustainable energy technologies and environment and has worked on several initiatives of Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust in this domain. I now invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to address all of us.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most prayerful salutations to our founder Chancellor, Bhagawan Shri Sai Baba, to whom all of us over here owe our existence in whatever capacities we are over here. So with my prayers to him, and I also want to, I don't know what to tell our revered Chancellor, about revered Chancellor, which every one of you know. And I have known him as, one of the toughest registrars in this institution during formative period. And it was really, really required. See, if you do not have good and tough leaders in the institution being formed, you cannot really, really construct it, you cannot build it. So he was such person who always had the interest of the students and the institution and expressed it in various forms, where many times we would, even be afraid of sometimes. Of course, as students, I can say that openly at that time. But later on, when you really meet him and talk to him, you can understand the kind of intellectual depth and emotional depth he explains things, okay? Because for him, only one thing mattered, that is Swami and Swami's institution. So we are always grateful to you, sir, and I'm particularly very happy because I'm always grateful to him, because wherever I have a problem, he is very open, calls me and discusses with me. Even last night, in spite of I cut into his dinner schedule and then we had a long discussion. So that's his level of commitment, okay? So in fact, all of us have to really learn a lot from, sir. So, and then I also want to, when I see, several senior faculty members over here, it's just that I can say that I was not fortunate enough to be an MBA student over here, and simply because when I see my colleagues also, like, Professor Sai Giridhar or Sanjay Sahani, all of them are connected somewhere or other these programs. And what we used to hear when I was in IASC at that time, like what Brother Ratnakar also said and what Sai Giridhar also said, it was all about MBA, nothing else. Okay, it was all about MBA, MBA, MBA. No matter what it is, just MBA. Swami was so passionate about that program. I think he had a much larger vision, which probably most of us would not be able to fathom. Okay, but he knows, because the amount of physical energy and time that he has put in, every one of you, those initial MBA periods, I think all of you are really, really fortunate. And then each one of you must have got your own, what I would say, made to order kind of message, which I am sure is a take-home point for every one of you. And that's what keeps you bringing over here, okay? And then I would also like to see, when I see this, our young children over here who are new, entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, I request all of you to handhold them and mold them, because you have gone through so much in your careers. It's, it's very, very important that, we sort of, what I would say, not a payback kind of thing. It's our more of moral obligations, which we need to, ensure that we take care of our, younger students. And of course, all the faculty over here, they're very, very committed. One person who used to really almost every day, many times, he would call me, Sai Manohar. He was, I could see the childlike enthusiasm in him in organizing this program. And no wonder this program is so very successful. And last 2 days, what I hear from everybody has been absolutely productive in terms of the amount of time and effort spent by our alumni, MBA alumni, with the current students, and the kind of feedbacks what we have been getting is really, really good. I don't know whether I can say a big thank you, but still I will say thank you to all of you. And for, shouldering that kind of responsibility and ensuring that your juniors are getting benefited. Okay, that's very important over here. Now, I'm not going to talk about MBA because I'm not an MBA student, I'm not in any managerial position, and none of them, because I'll only be expressing my ignorance if I talk about MBA. But for me, whatever that MBA means is generally common sense, empathy, and hard work. I take this as my management lesson from our own student days, what Swami has been telling us. That's what I personally inculcated in myself and then worked towards that. Now, let me not talk about this program. As a Vice Chancellor, I mean, life has come full round for me, because it's completely 360 degrees, after me graduating from here. I mean, the most cherished moments of my, existence on this planet. And now, Swami's is nothing but Swami's blessings that I'm back over here, okay, in a different capacity. But I feel that it's all our collective effort to take the system, our institution forward. So every one of us over here in this hall, even outside the hall, in all our campuses do matter across the globe. But I always believed in our alumni are our real ambassadors, okay? The alumni are the ambassadors, because I've seen, I myself was an alumnus for, even though I'm an alumnus, but still, as an alumnus staying outside for 38 years, 39 years, I know how most of us felt towards, our alma mater, because any changes, any news, any success, anything, we used to celebrate that. And any sort of news not so very pleasant, we used to also really worry about it. So it was like, every alumni really sort of has that feeling for the alma mater. And this is the only institute. See, I'm an alumnus of even IISc also. I don't think I even spend one single thought on that every day. Okay, as much as we spent, time thinking about our own alumnus. So that is the kind of, culture, the values we have imbibed over here. It's not necessary for anybody to teach us, but I think the very place itself changes us, okay? So that's what it is. So now I'll just come to some of the, the initiatives that, your own university has started. The first and foremost is that we have rolled out the National Education Policy 2020. And I would like to personally compliment every member of the faculty over here, even outside the entire institute, across the campuses, who have really, really worked very hard in, realizing that, restructuring the courses, and a lot of alumni, like, all of you professionals also have given them a lot of feedback. And with that, fortunately, with Swami's blessings, we could finally roll out that in EP 2020. And we thought that, there might be some resistance from the new students and parents, but I was surprised when we did when we took a consent from them. I don't think there is anybody who said no to it. Everybody really wanted that to, come on, because we did not advertise during our admissions, but we rolled out. So there was some, technically there were some problems over there, but however, when we gave the consent forms, the response was very, very positive. And of course, the NEP 2020, every university is going through learning process. I mean, there must be a lot of course corrections, but we will also go through those course corrections based on what we learned. What is most important here is that we have a team of dedicated champions, okay? What we call IQAC committee in that, for every aspect of the NEP or NAC requirements, and their dedication and commitment is commendable, because even a couple of days ago also we had a workshop on outcome-based education. When I was seeing the way our faculty were responding and working and restructuring the courses to quantify the outcome from every course, at the end of the day I was just discussing with the deans and directors and several faculties. We felt that I think ultimately we would be the real champions in terms of counseling the other universities also. So pretty soon that idea also came as part of our own incubation program and startup ecosystem. We could have a counseling center itself for other universities, not that we should charge them in a huge money, because I was just talking to some faculty in Bangalore. He happens to be sort of what I would say NAC consultant. And he offered consultancy to one university, maybe for a month or so, for an astounding fee of 20 lakh rupees. So that's the kind of money that is private universities are spending on this. But the amount of, the kind of depth what our own faculty have gone in fact, we are almost at the stage where we can say, where are the fault lines over here? And with some amount of, little more of data, based on our own experience and from other universities, we should be able to really, write scholarly articles and course correction for, NEP 2020 itself, or even the NAC accreditation process. So that's the level our faculty are working very hard these days, okay? Very committed and dedicated. I'm extremely fortunate to have such, committed and dedicated faculty. Now, coming back to the as such NEP requirements itself, Professor Sai Giridhar talked about it, where the internships are more and more mandatory. It is not just MBA program, it is across all the disciplines now. So we are going to have almost about 500 to 600 children every year, we need to find internships. Okay, I mean, internships again, it should be a meaningful internship. It should be really something where they learn something from that. It's not just, people go spend time and holiday and come back. It's not that. So we are trying to look at, fortunately, we have a designated placement officer who is an expert in this domain, okay, who will be taking charge very soon after some due administrative process. And also we have several, professionals also signing up with him. So overall, we'll have what is called a total placement cell. This cell will ensure that they reach out to companies, and look at MOUs, possible MOUs, and make sure that our students are all placed. Probably in about 1 or 2 years, we should be able to, meet the requirements of every student in terms of really a quality internship. Now, coming back to MBA program itself, now we said, Professor Sai Giridhar said we have a 2 months period given that, okay, for internships. Now, most of the companies, I know that they may want more time for internship, probably 4 months, 6 months, and things like that. It's just a suggestion which I've been thinking over the last 2-3 days, whether we can start internships after the very first semester itself for the MBA students. So, if we can sign up some MOUs with some companies, they can suggest the projects and programs where our faculty and students can get involved, and they can spend every summer 2 months over there. So that we have 1.5 years of online and offline internships, where again what I would say is that these project reports should be publication worthy. Somewhere or other, if we can meet that, it will take care of our publication requirements also. So just think about it. I'm sure the alumni should be able to help us out, and we could even enter into MOUs with different companies to have it as a seamless process where some faculty and students every year we work with them on their own critical projects and requirements. It could be on PhD students. So if we can enable that process where the alumni's role is very, very critical over here. If you can sort of work with our faculty and enable them to come out with some structure for this, it will be really, really good for us. It's just a thought that I had. Probably we'll have to run through our own approval systems, but still it is workable. Just think about it. Now, coming back to placements again, the placements we are looking at not only just the jobs, okay, not only just jobs. I would like our alumni who are our ambassadors in different, they are spread across the globe. They should be able to handhold our own students when they pass out, okay, and help them in settling down in their careers and lives. Okay, that's the level of one-on-one hand-holding is what we are looking at. So that's when our students, the new generations of students who are really not, exposed to the physical proximity of something. They have not had the experience of what every one of us have gone through and the lessons we learned at his, lotus feet. They may not be able to connect to that, but when they see you and us helping them out, then they can always connect. Look, these are our seniors, who learned from Swami, and this is what they learned. So this trend has to go on. Then only we can keep our, what I would say, the real integral system of education over here, which is value-based integrated education system in place, and where the newer generations do understand it better. Okay, they need to understand. Otherwise, they will not understand. It's like one more subject for them to, get an A grade or O grade and move forward. No, it is not that. It is more like how you change your, thinking in life itself. So that's where the alumni, all the seniors do play a critical role. Just let's sort of have some brainstorming sessions on that and see how we can enable that. Okay, we need to get going on that. Now, coming back to our own new initiatives, what we have been talking in about 2-3 months' time, if, with Swami's blessings, we should be able to roll out. We are also now looking at a total restructure of our own website, which is rich in contents, which is dynamic, and, which can sort of, where people, if they want any sort of information, it's available on that. And we have a very dedicated team, of technical experts plus content experts working on that. Probably in about 2-3 months' time, where we also look at alumni, window itself, separate alumni window itself, where we also look at See, we need to project our own alumni also, what we call alumni achievers, okay? That is something which we are also thinking aloud, like all of you are achievers. Now, if your profiles can be, available on the website, which is sort of, dynamic, rolling, like it's going on, it's changing every day, and then it's not the same person is shown over here, but it's just sort of scrolling type of thing. And at the same time, when outsiders see that, they know about it. See, we need to reach out to the outside world. It's not that we are there's any deficiency in our system in terms of, our quality of education or our infrastructure or any of that. It's just the larger world doesn't know that. Okay, the larger world, because we have been too shy of what I call, I don't want to use the word marketing because it's a very suboptimal word over here. In sort of trying to tell the world, look, we are here. Other than our alumni who are working, there's no other, you don't find us in any of the media, right? So instead of going to the media, our own social media handles can be much more dynamic and active. We are trying to aim at that. And also, what I would say is most of this, a lot of students, like today also, I saw one very beautiful, brochure on MBA, a lot of articles and things that all those articles can be published on our own website. And they see these days, when anybody Googles with some keywords, and you find that, our website also shows up with these articles. So somewhere or other, we should be able to reach out on those. This is one more effort we are, trying to roll out at the earliest. And we have a very dedicated team, and Mr. Sai Mudigonda is very active in that, and several others are also working. And we are also looking at establishing certain centers for excellence, because we have a lot of interdisciplinary programs, and then we need to group these academicians and the researchers in terms of that, where we excel in something. For example, one is that actuarial science. I mean, Sathya Institute of Higher Learning is the only institute in the country which has got international recognition in that. And now soon we are going to also mathematical biology. We have very young faculties, multidisciplinary faculty. We had a beautiful national level workshop where a lot of experts had come here, and this thought also came out. And then another one was Center for Excellence in Fiber Lasers, because we have real infrastructure for all of that. So this is the multiple domains we are trying to look at in forming several centers for excellence, where our own research programs are oriented towards three aspects which founder Chancellor always wanted us: energy, environment, and health. Okay, these are the three things we want to give it as a thrust area again, use all our resources towards that. And I think here also where what I see is a big role for alumni. I always believe, because I myself was an alumni and then, was quite passionate about this institution and also Swami's institution all throughout, no matter where we are, what we do and things like that, but we're still committed, that sense of commitment is always there. Because as, just to give you an incident that when Swami, inaugurated Brindavan Super Speciality Hospital, some of us in Bangalore, we said we should do something. We should do something more, for Swami's hospital. What can we do? Apart from all the, we were working day and night to get ready for the inauguration. And, other than that, we said, what can we do? Suddenly this idea came up, why not? Why not we sort of take this decision? See, Swami has been spending so much money. See, don't get me wrong when I say that. How do we also get involved in that? How do we get involved in that? So what we did was, we pulled in, most of us pulled in, and then, there's no forced compulsion, a lot of people volunteered for that, and we did collect, several checks, individual checks and things like that, and we tried our best to offer it to Swami. Swami would not accept. He said, a mother will not take from children. We do not want it. It was a very, very clear statement. But again, mother also would like children to pester her and persist, and all that. It's a very nice feeling, no matter what we are, how old we are, what we are in our careers. But in front of Swami, we always become children again. When we were students, race horses, when we see Swami in portico, all the discipline goes for a toss. Everybody just races towards Swami. And to outside people, it is what is this boy so very indisciplined? But, the connect, Swami only knows, and the students know that. That bonding, that love, that affection. The outsiders will not know that. So it's this kind of, it never changes even if you go out. It's always there. So when we were finally, Swami, sort of blessed us by accepting that. The best thing was Swami that year in Christmas discourse, I was just hearing the discourse. Swami said, he was telling the devotees, public, he said, my students, my children are like 1000% pure gold, and all of you are nothing in front of them. And recently, many of them, several of them, cut down their own expenditure, cut down on their, luxuries, cut down on their food habits, everything, and they gave Swami's hospital 75 lakhs. See, look at the amplification he brings in over there, okay? I mean, I'm just saying that the amount of love and affection Swami has. Whenever we used to ask Swami, what do we do? What do we do? Please tell us what do we do. That's been, of course, a lot of elders used to get annoyed by us. That was very, very clear, because any number of times, in a lighter sense, I was on the receiving side from several of them. But still, alumni students are students. And finally, Swami told us once, it said, in Telugu, he said, మీరందరూ ఇక్కడ చదువుకున్నారు, దానికోసమే విద్యా సంస్థలకి సంబంధించిన కార్యక్రమాలు చేసుకోండి. మీరే ఒక అకౌంట్ పెట్టుకొని విద్యా సంస్థ సంబంధించిన కార్యక్రమాలు చేసుకోండి. I don't know how many of you understand Telugu over here. It was very clear message for us. Look, you all studied over here. Okay, so your primary duty and responsibility is towards these education institutions. So you work towards it. If you want, you open in your own account and work towards it. That was the message very clearly given by Swami. I think it was way back in 2003-04, if I remember right. And then we were wondering as how to go about that, because as again we said, forming an association or forming a placement, and it was not part of our culture, whatever our ethos and things like that. But again, we didn't want to give up. Several attempts were made. Suddenly, we were not very successful. Maybe Swami didn't want it not to happen. He had his own, master plan of when it has to happen. Probably now it has come full circle, and now because of various accreditation processes, we need to sort of have our own alumni. I don't want to use the word association, but we still need to use, for the sake of legal terminology, alumni association. We simply call it as Sri Sathya Sai students, because we always called ourselves Sri Sathya Sai students. If you recall, any of you, I can see Gurumurthy, everybody, so many decades, we have been using that. Even in our letterheads, our correspondence with various, organizations also. So the same title, and then hopefully with his blessings, with all the blessings of the elders, we should be able to roll it out very soon. And with that, I think alumni can structure their activities in a more constructive manner. And with our new website and this alumni association, every alumni has a role to play in taking the alma mater forward. We are simply looking at hand-holding of the youngsters over here, across the campuses, hand-holding of them and then mentoring them somewhere I think can each student have one mentor outside, one hand holder outside, okay? Hopefully we'll be able to reach that level. So we require everybody's, commitment and dedication. And of course, as Brother Ratnakar also was telling in the morning, the management, the Central Trust and our Chancellor, sir, everybody has given us, their blessings on this. So it's in it's our responsibility and duty to take it forward. And hopefully very soon we should be able to, take that forward. So this is, I thought as the current Vice Chancellor of this institution, I would update our alumni, of the programs that we are, envisaging very soon. Maybe in about 6 months' time, 1 year's time, we should be completely, in a, completely rolled out state. So with that, I would like to thank every one of you, and then with all my prayers to Swami, I'll conclude here. Sai Ram. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Unity is strength. That's what I can understand and summarize as Vice Chancellor sir's talk. We have to be united, we have to come together, and at no point of time we need to work in silos or think that I'm an individual. Rather, we all should be coming together and work together as an institution to make our Swami happy and proud. We will now have Brother Ram Gopal, Managing Director and CEO, Barclays India, addressing all of us. Brother Ram contributes to the in-country leadership of Barclays India with focus on strategy and execution. For the onshore business, he is responsible for the design and execution of a country strategy that supports the financial performance and market position of the banking entity in India. For the shared services and the private bank businesses, he provides effective support to the country manager in the discharge of governance responsibilities. He has been in this role since October 2017, is a member of the Country Management Committee, and until recently on the board of Barclays Shared Services and Barclays Technology Center, India. Prior to this role, he was the Chief Operating Officer for the Retail and Corporate Banking Division, GRCB, since July 2007. In 2009, he was the acting MD of the Retail and Commercial Banking Division in India. Prior to joining Barclays, he spent 11 years at Standard Chartered UAE and 3 years at Citibank, India. He is a member of the CII National Committee on Financial Markets, CII National Committee on Banking, FICCI's National Committee on Banking, and co-chair of the ESG Committee at ASSOCHAM, where he represents the industry's interests. Apart from being an alumni of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, he holds an MBA from the University of Chicago and is a CFA charter holder. Let us all join our hands together and welcome Brother Ram to address all of us.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I place my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan. Revered Chancellor Sir, Vice Chancellor Sir, Registrar Sir, Controller of Examinations Sir, esteemed teachers, my classmates, alumni, and current students. I can't think of a great privilege than being here on this special occasion. Made more special by the fact that I'm accompanied by several of our batchmates, many of whom I'm meeting after 30 long years. Maybe to start off with, sir, it would be remiss on my part, representing the alumni, if I don't respond first up on the clarion call that first with the managing trustee, Ratnakar sir, you also made about the role that the alumni can play. When I met you early in the morning, I said the same thing. I think every change is a period of renewal. Under your leadership, we hope this will be a catalyst for a new phase where for long I think we've been saying, and I think you captured it brilliantly, you said what can we do phase, to now some concrete things on how we could possibly contribute more. And I think if I just, yesterday when this event started, I think there were a bunch of these current students who came up and they were talking about what could have motivated some of us to come back. And they spoke about two things, and Sashi, one of my brothers, he corrected that later when he had an opportunity, but I just wanted to reiterate. Of course, it is the love of Swami that we are here, the gratitude that we have for the Institute, but it is also our collective, shall I say, alignment around serving that has got us back here. We've been trying for 30 years to get together as a group. It hasn't happened before. It has happened now. So hopefully this is also an indication that we could progress. Yeah? It's just a small acknowledgement of what you said and what we heard in the morning. I had a different, when I was asked to use 10 minutes to talk about my thoughts, I had wanted to use this opportunity to stock take. And I think after listening to all the three speakers, it possibly feels a little underwhelming, but I'll nevertheless go through that because there are, after all, personal reflections. And as we think about the Institute in its new avatar, maybe some of these could form seeds as to how we want to think about going ahead.
People are not able to.
Oh, is that so? Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, fine. I didn't want my pauses. Thank you so much. So first, okay. So the first aspect, and every anniversary day, in fact, in the mandir early on when we were here, I used to often reflect, I think attached to a tree inside the mandir was this piece that every day is your birthday. So what is it that this anniversary, how do you make it special? One I said is it's fantastic to be here with people who think alike. But quite aside from that, I think it is also a period of stock taking. And stock taking from the sense of a couple of things, I would think. One is, maybe a reflection of what do we stand for? And I'm reminded here about, a practice in my company. It's a rich tradition. Our company is about 330 years old, and this is a tradition that has been going on for a long time. This is about whenever somebody takes on the role of an MD, I think they're asked to reflect on a question. And that question comes from some work that has happened. I think there's an HBR article around it too. This is simply titled, "Why Should Anyone Be Led by You?" And the new incumbent is asked to reflect on it and come back and talk to the wider audience. You mentioned stakeholders, sir. So, in a bank, we've got different constituencies too, to talk about what is it that they want their period to be about. And I felt that maybe we haven't done this in any rigorous sort of a way for what do Sai students represent. I think we have a generic idea, but I thought maybe we could use something specific. And how do I inform? And this is a personal reflection, and hopefully it will resonate to many of you. And how do we develop that, shall I say, brand statement, so to speak? And I think I want to use three inputs to be able to inform the statement that I have in mind, and I'll share that with you in a bit. And first is that our life when we were here revolved around three aspects, right? We were first and foremost here because of Swami. So there is Mandir played a key component. Then we, had some aspirations of trying to learn some hard skills. So the college, the institute played a role. And third is that this is an environment where we were spending a lot of time together, so the hostel was an important component too. So using these three, what I felt, most remarkable in my, 30 years and, 2 years here and then after that are three things. And I want to start with that when I talk about this brand statement. The first is cultivation of a sense of humility. I think when I first arrived here, and frankly, unlike many of my brothers who I envy, who happened to make the journey from Ooty to 38th MBA, I was a lateral, so to speak. And for me, when having already formed some opinions on myself, it was a rude awakening. Rude awakening in the sense that when you're exposed to ideals around you, you just feel that you were nowhere. And you're maybe a feeling that you're completely lost. It allowed me, I think at that point in time, and I'm connecting dots backwards, is I think it allowed me to see myself in perspective. I think that is possibly very important And just as we are all talking about unprecedented events that form the macro environment, clearly alongside that we've also had incidents where possibly, Swami uses the word ego. I don't know whether I'm big enough to use that, but sometimes I think that is the central. I think we possibly, our interest, self-interest supersede, shall I say, the company's interest or others' interest. I think that was possibly, one key, for me, a reflection out of being out of the system. So this cultivation of a sense of humility. The second thing is this constant strive towards excellence. Yeah, and Vice Chancellor, sir, you spoke so eloquently about the commitment that we saw from teachers. It is just incredible. Everybody, every day, every moment, trying to be the best versions of themselves. I mean, in corporates today, we talk about role models, and we talk about many aspects of, what you want modern leadership to, and if time permits, I'll kind of reflect on that. But here is, everybody, it is no secret that behavior, there's a large component of it that comes from the environment that you come in. So to see every day, everybody in the best version is just incredible. So that, I think, is my second key takeout from my years of association. And the third, which is possibly a natural progression from the first two, is this strong sense of brotherhood. So much so that, in my company, in my social circle, people that I know in the industry, I think they look at our alumni, not just alumni, basically the entire fraternity, if I might put it that way. I think it's unfortunate that we tend to think about this as I versus them, but that isn't where I'm going. I feel they have told me enough number of times that there is something around the sense of being a band of brothers that is so deep in this system. And I think that possibly is another takeout for me. How is it that even after 30 years, you could start a conversation as if you just had that conversation yesterday or you met that person yesterday? So then, if we want to think of a positioning statement, and if we want to think about this using these three, shall I say, fundamental drivers of how you think about the output from the system, then I am thinking that maybe the best, at least if I were asked to respond to this question, I would say that the best way to describe ourselves, what we represent, is this statement. Together we make hard things happen in a humane way. Together we make hard things happen in a humane way. I think this is possibly what our promise is. There was an event recently in my company where we were taking stock of 7 years that I've been in this role and a little longer, 16 years with this company. And it was no surprise. I think people didn't talk about that intellectual contribution that I made to win a deal or a particular solve a problem. But I think what came out was what I was just reflecting on. So I think this is perhaps the first part of what I wanted to convey, which is, if we were to think about what we stand for, this could be it. Now, it is possibly an idle man's reflection and mind keeping one busy. How do we know that this really connects in the business world? So what do we have to demonstrate that this brand will resonate in the marketplace of a business environment? So what I've done, and I think this is nothing, it wouldn't come as any surprise to any of you, but nevertheless, I think it's important to place it in perspective and in context. There is, a lot of work that has been done. I wouldn't get into why we believe this is a challenging environment. I'm coming from a bank. There are many of my classmates who are bankers, and they would possibly appreciate this, that the banks, universal banks, are plagued with two issues, and I'll just touch on that very briefly because that's not what the problems are, not where I'm going. I'm going elsewhere. And the problems are that, unlike any other industry, banks trade at a discount. And if you look at one metric, financial metric, need not be the only metric, but just one metric if you take. If you look at return on shareholder equity, only half of the population of banks in the world. So this is a population where N is 999. This is a McKinsey research, so there's something unique about the 999. They say that about 50% of the banks don't even return that covers their cost of capital. Now you look at another data point, price to book. There is, again, only 50% of the banks that even have their price covering the book value on the balance sheet. Now, that's the macro environment. So to say that these are unprecedented times is an understatement, I would think. Yeah. So McKinsey goes on and kind of presents a view of what does it take for a new organization, what does it take for an organization to thrive in this new era? So what are the aspects that organizations should think of, and what are therefore leadership imperatives to work in an organization like that? And I thought if we could use our brand statement and try and compare that to what the imperatives are, perhaps we could make an honest assessment of where we stand. So that's the endeavor. So again, this is not something that is inside a paywall. McKinsey and anybody who's interested, I'm more than happy to share. I'll just touch on the highlights, and one of the things that I wanted to do was to reflect on each one of those dimensions, but we don't have time today. But nevertheless, those the leadership precepts are something I think interesting to say the least. They talk about 5 fundamental shifts, and I'll just go past this pretty quickly. First is, what companies focus on. They say that, in order to thrive, and this is based on hard data. This is not somebody's opinion the way I'm saying this. Yeah, this is with hard data. What we focus on has moved beyond a unidimensional metric of maximizing profit to, going to impact. And if you think about this from a mindset perspective, so we've said this enough times during our case studies. We have talked of this about why we have to move from shareholder value maximization to stakeholder welfare. That isn't the point. But if you think about the mindset that goes behind it, I think there is possibly something to learn, which is this mindset of preservation. McKinsey finds that needs to move into mindset of possibilities. I quite like that, because if you think about if you do a cloud map today and you asked people who've spent time in the industry and you ask them about themes that they are contending with, I think about 99% of the time you would have a central big, what a cloud map is, right? You would have at the center this thing called purpose, right? This is exactly what I think McKinsey is saying. And if you think about our system and the thing about purpose, I feel it is a natural extension, right? What is a purpose after all? You're attaching a value system to the way you behave or what drives your behavior. And I think, it shouldn't, at least for us, be a surprise that this is coming up. Second is, they talk about, an aspect in an organization as to how we create value. And the way we were driving things, at least little before pandemic, if I can use that as a line that defines the new era, I think we were thinking about this from a competitive lens, right? The way we create value is saying, I shall take it from you. If I win, you unfortunately have to lose. That was the kind of mindset I think that is prevalent. Now I think, we talk quite, it's a cliche now, this concept of ecosystems. I think it came up in the conversation earlier on too, about how we now no longer are planners, but we are architects trying to create, and with the mindset of, possibility. We are thinking about how do we grow the pie. In fact, in one of our case studies, one of my brothers had this interesting example of a pizza and how you're thinking about expanding this pizza. So you're moving from a mindset of scarcity in terms of how you create value to moving to a mindset of abundance. Yeah, I found that pretty interesting. Again, how we organize, mindset was authority, hierarchical organizations. Again, a brother of ours spoke about that in one of the case studies. To now a mindset of partnership, the theme being collaboration. How we get work done, we were controllers. We had to plan everything. The mindset was one of certainty. Now I think we are being, how we get work done. This is a knowledge economy, right? You are facilitator, you are a partner, you are a coach, and you operate with a mindset of trying to see the art of possible, so mindset of discovery. And this is, I think, the last one, how we show up. In the mindset was that prevalent is the mindset of conformity. We are who we are with our title. We are who we are in our professional life. There was hardly any degree of tolerance allowed for being yourself. Now I think if you're encouraging diversity, inclusion, these are themes, again, if you draw a cloud map, these would come up. And if you're talking about diversity, inclusion, you cannot necessarily restrict conversations to just what interests the company. It could be matters outside that bothers them, that is important for them. So how do we as leaders respond constructively to some of those conversations? I think McKinsey says that this is an important dimension. So this is what McKinsey's view of the world in terms of what it takes to thrive. And I've just, shall I say, flitted through it. There's much more deep work behind it. But the point that I was trying to make is, if this is the crucible against which we want to test the brand statement, it easily stacks up, isn't it? It should come naturally to us. Yeah, we have been nurtured in an environment where I think this. We spoke about that earlier. The sense of, we, the sense of empathy, the sense of self-sacrifice. I think these 4 or 5 aspects of mind shifts, I think, should come pretty naturally to us. So in summation, if I were to think about, my reflections of being in the system, what then could be our brand, what then, is required to flourish in a modern corporation, it seems to be all aligning. But I could be biased, and, we all have this confirmation bias, right? We look for theories that suit our proposition. So I went further on and looked at other studies, not just McKinsey's, but there is a body of work that Bain Capital has done, Bain and Company have done. There is also a body of work that Deloitte have done, all on the same topic, which is what does it take for somebody to flourish in today's age and times. Yeah? So I think, and I'll just flit through some of, the words that have been used so that I think you will feel comforted that this covers a broad spectrum. Yeah, there is lots of talk of purpose, values, diversity, inclusion, resilience. ESG comes up quite a bit. Transformation, culture, ecosystems, collaboration, we spoke about that, wellness. These are what comes up in those reviews. I think it shouldn't surprise us, right? So I feel, therefore, that the brand has resonance in the market of the business world. So where do we go from here? We've done some bit of stock taking, but there is an important aspect, and I think, everybody who spoke before me touched on this. Yeah, there seems to be a big gap between knowing and doing, leave alone being. And I think that is an aspect where maybe we should use this occasion to rededicate ourselves. And if you think on one aspect, which is the aspect of serving, which is what Vice Chancellor said that I was trying to come at. Again, there's lots of gaps. We seem to be in this world where we want clarity before we can jump in, so maybe those could change. And if I go back to the sense of being lost, this sense of humility, even after 30 years, I don't think in any of those examples, and we see many of those examples even now in this brief for 2 days that I've been here, we could ever, or at least this is a personal reflection, I could go up. So there's lots in terms of headroom for growth, in terms of how we come closer and closer to what I think would be an ideal thing. I'm always motivated by Swami's saying. I think he was talking about, as MBA students, he used to talk to us about being spiritual warriors or corporate Zens. Corporate Zens is my version of it. It was not Swami's saying. And I think the saying of his that we should possibly have heads in the forest and hands in the society, I think is an ideal worth living up for. And my earnest request is that all of us collectively today, alumni, and if I may ask my classmates too, let's collectively rededicate ourselves to see how we can get closer and closer to this ideal. Jai Shamrao.
Thank you, brother. Let us all join our hands once again for Brother Ram for sharing his insightful thoughts coming from a rich experience of his from the industry. As we are inching closer to the conclusion of 38th MBA Day celebrations, I'm sure each one of us sitting here in this hall have a mixed feeling. Our hearts full of love and gratitude. At the same time, we also are feeling little excited, happy, and also little not so very happy. Excited and happy because we have had wonderful session and time for the last 1.5 days. Not so happy because we know that in next few hours we will have our brothers going back to their own places for their work, and we will also be back to our routine. For the last 1.5 days, we have been really enjoying each and every session, each hour. With brothers of 1993 batch coming to us, we certainly had witnessed a certain amount of enrichment, be at an individual level, by witnessing or by taking part in case presentations. At a department level, brothers have enriched our capacity in terms of infrastructure by gifting us as a token of gratitude to the system and to the Swami in form of the smart LED interactive panels to the department. We are very thankful to you, brothers, and from our bottom of our hearts, we thank all of you. As a token of love and gratitude, the Department of Management and Commerce would like to give away a small token of love to all of you. And I request Chancellor Sir to kindly come forward and give away the token of love and appreciation to the brothers of 1993 batch. As I call out the names of the brothers, I request brothers to come forward and receive the token of love from Chancellor Sir. Brother A.G. Ram Gopal. Brother Abhay Amrite. Brother Arunesh. Brother Bhaskar Katta. Brother Giridhar Guruswami, Brother P. Satyanand, Brother Praveen Kumar, Brother Rajiv, Brother S. Ravi Kumar, Brother Sashidhar Bhatt, Brother Shyam Kishore, and Brother Vinesh. Thank you, sir. We had 5 of our brothers who were present with us in person, but due to some personal commitments and obligations, they had to travel back. And also, there were brothers who contributed but could not be here today. So our deepest sense of gratitude and love for them also, those who are not there in person in this very hall today. Let us join our hands together once again as a mark of gratitude and love for all 93 batch brothers. Now, in the last lap of our today's celebrations, and what could be the better way to end our day other than having Bhagawan's message and some of the snippets of good olden days. We shall now have a video presentation which comprises of excerpts from various divine discourses given specifically to MBA students in the year 1986, and also video snippets which comprises of various good olden days, good memories, which I'm sure many of our brothers from 1993 batch would have spent with Bhagawan. Let us all sit back and listen to Bhagawan's words and also enjoy the video presentation. Thank you.
ప్రేమ స్వరూపులైన విద్యార్థులారా, అధ్యాపకులారా,
students, embodiments of divine love, and the teachers.
సర్వజన హితమే భారతీయుల మతం.
Our faith and our religion should be the welfare of everyone.
సర్వజన హితం యొక్క వ్రతమే మన యొక్క భారతీయుల సంస్కృతి.
Our culture of Bharatiyas is to wish well for everyone in the society and
ఇట్టి
in
సంస్కృతి
humanity.
యొక్క విలువలను మనం ఏనాడు గుర్తించమో ఆనాడే మానవత్వం కూడాను సార్థకం నందుతుంది.
Only that day when we recognize these human values and practice them, we would have sanctified ourselves as human beings belonging to one humanity.
ఇంకా జపాన్ ఉంటుండాలి.
Take for example Japan.
ఈ జపాన్ యొక్క సంస్కృతిని అనుసరించి వారు కొంతవరకును వర్కర్స్ కు తగినటువంటి స్వాతంత్రం ఇస్తూ ఉంటారు.
In Japan, they in the management people, they are giving a little amount of freedom for the workers in that country.
ఈ మేనేజర్స్ కు వర్కర్స్ కు మధ్య ఉన్నటువంటి సంబంధ బాంధవ్యం అనేటువంటిది చాలా గాఢంగా ఉంటుంటాది.
The relationship between the workers and the management is very strong and on a very strong
కనుకనే
foundation.
జపాన్ దేశం లోపల స్ట్రైక్స్ అనేటువంటిది ఎక్కడా ఎక్కువ కనిపించవు.
That is why in Japan you don't come across strikes on that large scale.
ఇంతే కాక వారు ఎప్పుడో ఒక తూరి స్ట్రైక్ అని అనుకుంటే ఆనాడు ఈ యొక్క వర్క్ షాప్ ను కానీ ఈ ఫ్యాక్టరీని కానీ వారి వదిలిపోరు. ఆనాడు అధికంగా పనిచేస్తారు. ఇది వాళ్ళ పద్ధతి.
Another thing is, in case that the workers in Japan want to go on strike, instead of deserting the factories and the workshops, they turn out more work on that particular day when they go on strike.
ఇలాంటి సహనభావం ఉండటం చేతనే జపాన్ యొక్క మేనేజ్మెంట్ కొంతవరకు అభివృద్ధి చెందుతూ ఉంటుండాలి.
Japan management has been able to achieve success in a significant way because they have been able
కేవలం
to
ఆయా
adopt
దేశములకు మాత్రమే ఈ విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క ఫలితములు అన్వయమవుతుంటుంటాయి.
for different countries, different systems are applicable.
ప్రతి దేశమునందు కూడాను స్టాటిస్టిక్స్,
In every country, subjects like statistics,
అకౌంట్స్,
accounts,
మేనేజ్మెంట్,
management,
ప్రొడక్షన్
production management,
ఇవి సమానంగానే ఉంటుంటాయి.
these are all common for management systems of all countries.
అమెరికా దేశం, జపాన్ దేశం, ఇంకే విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క దేశాలు, ఇంగ్లాండ్ దేశాలు అన్నింటి ఎందుకు కూడాను ఈ నాలుగు కూడాను సమానంగానే ఉంటుంటాయి.
All these four are common, whether it is management in America, management in Japan, management in England, or in any other country.
కానీ ఆ దేశము లోపల ఆ దేశం యొక్క సంస్కృతికి విలువలకు ఎక్కువ అవకాశం అందించడం లేదు.
But what is happening is that they are not giving equal importance for the values, human values of those countries.
కానీ ఈనాడు మన ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ లో దీనికి ప్రత్యేకమైనటువంటి కొన్ని విలువలను, సంస్కృతులను అభివృద్ధి గావించి నియమిస్తూ ఉన్నాం.
But in our institute, we have decided to introduce values and ethos in management.
ఇందులో ప్రధానమైనటువంటివి ఇండియన్ ఎథాస్ అండ్ వాల్యూస్.
One important course in management of our institute is Indian ethos and values.
Indian economics environment.
Another important course is Indian economic environment.
ఇంతే కాకుండా పర్సనల్ మేనేజ్మెంట్,
It is not merely that, the cultural management,
ఆర్గనైజేషన్ వాల్యూస్.
organization of values.
ఇంతే కాదు, ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ఒక విధమైనటువంటి బిహేవియర్ కూడా ఉంటుండాలి.
It is not merely that. One more course is organizational behavior.
బిజినెస్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ కూడా ఉంటున్నాయి.
It is not merely that. There is another course, business communications, introduced in management courses.
పర్సనల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ కూడా ఉంటుండాలి.
Personnel development and management also is introduced.
హ్యూమన్ వాల్యూస్ కూడా ఉంటుండాలి.
Human values also are incorporated in the curriculum.
మన యొక్క ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ లో వచ్చినటువంటి MBA లోపల ప్రత్యేకంగా ప్రతి సెమిస్టర్ ఎందుకు కూడాను హ్యూమన్ వాల్యూస్, ఇండియన్ ఎథాస్ అండ్ వాల్యూస్ ఇవి ప్రత్యేకమైనటువంటి రీతిగా ఉంటుంటాయి.
In our MBA program, the institute, we have introduced human values in every semester and it has been given a due importance.
ఇంతే కాకుండా కంప్యూటర్ ని ఏ విధంగా వినియోగించాలి అనేటువంటి విధానాన్ని కూడాను తెలుపుతుంది.
Not merely that, computer management also is included as one of the courses in our management program.
ప్రాక్టికల్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ కూడాను ఇందులో ప్రధానంగా ఉంటుండాలి.
It is not merely that, the practical aspects of the management also is introduced as a project.
కనుక మనము ఈ ఇండియన్ వాల్యూస్ ఎథాస్ ఇది చాలా లక్ష్యంలో ఉంచుకోవాలి.
We have to pay special attention and keep in view this particular course.
ఇంతవరకు
Indian
భారతదేశంలో
ethos and values.
ప్రారంభించినటువంటి MBA కోర్సుల్లో ఇవి ఏమాత్రమూ లేవు.
The MBA program started in India, elsewhere, do not have a course like
ఇందులో
this.
వర్కర్స్ ఒక తల్లి బిడ్డల వలె అన్యోన్యంగా ఒకరికొకరు కలిసిమెలిసి సహనభావంతో జీవించడానికి మన యొక్క ఇండియన్ ఎథాస్ లో ప్రధానమైనటువంటిది ప్రార్థన, ప్రేయర్, కామన్ ప్రేయర్, సైలెంట్ ప్రేయర్.
In Indian ethos and values, there is importance given for an item like prayer, common prayer and silent prayer, which the workers will be doing and they will be conducting themselves as children of one mother with mutual affection and
ఈ
cooperation.
ప్రపంచంలో ఎన్నో MBAలంతా కూడా స్థాపించారు.
In the world today, you have got MBA programs, so many in number.
కానీ ఈ MBAలకు అర్థాలు కూడా వేరువేరుగా ఉంటున్నాయి.
There is different meaning also given to this MBA program.
మన యొక్క విలువలకు, మన యొక్క సంస్కృతికి MBA అనేటువంటి దాంట్లో మాస్టర్ ఆఫ్ బిజినెస్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ అంటారు. ఇది దీనికి సరైన పేరు కాదు.
The MBA name, the label that is given, is not proper for the values and the course content and the curriculum of our MBA program.
మన దాని లోపల ఇంకా కొన్ని చోట్లంతా కూడా MMS అని కూడా పెట్టారు.
In certain other places, they have given the name as MMS.
మాస్టర్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ సైన్స్ అన్నారు.
Master of Management Science, they call it.
కానీ మాది మూడు కూడాను MMలే ఉండాలి.
But what we should have is, all the three letters must be MMM.
మాస్టర్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ మ్యాన్,
You should have Master Management Man.
ఇది సరి అయినటువంటిదిగా ఉండాలి. అప్పుడే ఈ జగత్తులో ఏ విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క వ్యాపారం జరిగినప్పటికీ, ఏ విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క వస్తువులు ఉత్పత్తి జరగవలసినప్పటికీ మనము సిన్సియర్గా, హృదయపూర్వకంగా, విశాలమైన హృదయంతో, నీతి నిజాయితీలతో దీన్ని అభివృద్ధి గావించి భారతదేశం యొక్క కీర్తిని జగత్ వ్యాప్తి గావించి ఈ యొక్క విద్యార్థులు వాళ్ళు సమాజములకు తగినటువంటి ఉపకారం గావించాలని నేను ఆశిస్తూ నేను నా యొక్క ప్రసంగాన్ని విరమిస్తున్నాను.
When we have such a name as MMM, to whatever activity, field of activity be it, it would be appropriate, and by having such a proper name and by introducing proper values and ethos, Swami hopes that the students would get a good name.
दिल चलने लगा है, फूलों के इन बगियों में मन टहलने चला है, यादों के सफर में दिल चलने लगा है, फूलों की इन बगियों में मन टहलने चला है। कुछ तो है इन ख्वाबों में दिल से निकलते नहीं, कुछ तो है इन राहों में मिलती यहाँ हर खुशी, अब इन लम्हों के बारिश में भीगने चला हूँ मैं, यादों के सफर में दिल चलने लगा है, फूलों के इन बगियों में मन टहलने चला है। याद आती है शरारतें तेरी और प्यार भरी वो करारतें तेरी, ये यादें लगती है जैसे बातें आज की, ये बातें लगती है जैसे यादें आज की, अब इन लम्हों के बारिश में भीगने चला हूँ मैं, यादों के सफर में दिल चलने लगा है।
Sai Ram. No words can express our love for Swami, and equally, no words can express Swami's love for all of us. As we conclude, we thank the university administration for extending all the support for conducting 38th MBA Day program celebrations. We thank brothers from the 1993 batch for taking their time out and coming over here and spending their time with all of us. We thank all the students and faculty members of the Department of Management and Commerce for coming together and putting up this MBA Day program in such a beautiful manner. We thank Director's Office and Brother Raghuram for extending all the AV support for this program. Last but not the least, we are ever grateful to Swami for blessing us with this unique opportunity to be here in this institution and be a part of his divine love and mission. We'll conclude today's program by offering Mangal Aarti to Bhagawan, and I request Brother Giridhar Guruswami to come forward and offer Mangal Aarti to Swami.
भक्तजना संरक्षक भक्तजना संरक्षक प्रतिमहेश्वरा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रितकल्पलतिका आश्रितकल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे मातपिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राशयन ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओ साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगलहारति अंदुको मंगलहारति अंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति 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 समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Sai Ram, all the faculty members